Welcome in. Episode, I should have asked him. I want to say 83. What's right with Nick Wright? Maybe Matt can tell me in my ear if I'm wrong on it. Somewhere around there. We're in the 80s.
Yeah.
We are on episode 83 of What's Right. I think people expect me to be sad today, expect me to be down today. DeMonze's smirking as if he didn't once again lose every bet he made in a football weekend, and sees like, I figured it out now. Now I'm a single game parlay guy. I think you went 0 for 3
on the parlay.
I think you went, which
Edwards-Helaire came close to covering for me. But
Edwards-Helaire almost got 35 yards. You had under.
Me.
You had under for Stephon Diggs yards. I forgot what your other
Touchdown
one was.
scorer, Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, 0 for 3. That's oddly not as painful as going 2 for 3. Like where you're like, you were that close. And then you, of course, had the Chiefs plus the 2.5 points. That one didn't cover either. That cost me some money. I'm sure we're going to be starting there. We have a ton to get into, and the NBA season starts tomorrow. We'll do a little NBA. We'll do a lot of NBA on Thursday's show. I understand it's kind of weird, like, the season will have already started. We'll do our real NBA season preview on Thursday. Not too much going to happen in the first 2 days that would change any of that. But today is a Monday after 4 of the very best teams in football all played on national television playing each other. So we've got to talk football today. But as we always do, let's start with what we are not talking about today. What did not make the cut today? Robbie Anderson ejected by his own team, and Christian McCaffrey on the trade block. The reports that they want 2 first-round picks for C-Mac is just so insane. Nobody, from just an objective standpoint, nobody should do that. Tennessee beats Alabama in an epic college football game, 52-49, an awesome field goal at the gun, and then Nayland goes crazy, Rocky Top, they steal the goalpost, and then Tennessee has the audacity to do a GoFundMe to pay for the goalpost replacement. I think your $1.3 billion endowment, Tennessee can cover that, and as I mentioned, the NBA tips off tomorrow in Boston. But let's get right to the show. DeMonze, I have a feeling I know where we're starting. Go ahead.
Tough break for your Chiefs this weekend.
Yeah.
And you as well. Allen threw the game-winning touchdown, and Mahomes threw the game-losing interception.
Yep.
You weren't salty, though. You gave credit where it was due to the Bills. So I'm assuming you're going to say that this doesn't matter into the playoffs. But it's kind of strange. It seems like the Bills could easily have home field advantage in the AFC East now. Convince us that you're not still worried about the Bills.
Okay, so I have said all along the Bills are a very good team, and that at some point the Bills will beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't think Mahomes will go undefeated against Allen in the playoffs in his career. And that might happen this year, might not happen this year. But nothing that happened yesterday makes me more concerned. There's nothing that happened yesterday where I'm like, oh my God, the Chiefs are screwed. I don't want to draw all the corollaries of last year, but last year the Bills came into Kansas City and not only won, they won by 3 scores. They kicked the Chiefs' teeth in, and then they stumbled for 2 months, and that playoff game was not in Buffalo. Now, given Buffalo's schedule and given the strength of their defense, I do think they have the clear inside track to the 1 seed now. And that obviously is an advantage because there's only 1 bye now instead of 2. And because Mahomes has never had to play a road playoff game because every single year he's been quarterback for the Chiefs, they've been the 1 or the 2 seed. In the years they were the 2 seed, the 1 seed lost after the bye. And so they've never had to go on the road. So if I'm being honest, if you want my honest take on what happened yesterday, what concerns me, what does not concern me. What concerns me is, and I said it on this show and I said it on the TV show, Von Miller's ability to wreck a game happened yesterday. Von Miller was the best player on the field for either team yesterday. He caused the pick on the final play of the game by forcing Mahomes up in the pocket and to go faster than he wanted to. He had a huge sack the drive before to get Buffalo the ball back. He was all over the field. That concerns me. And Andrew Wiley at right tackle, which we've talked about how Von likes to rush off that side, Andrew Wiley could not handle him, so that was concerning. The Chiefs' inability to consistently run the ball when the Bills were daring them to run, that concerns me a bit. So those are real concerns. The Bills' offense, listen, the end of the first half was a gut punch, and Andy Reid took a timeout that I wouldn't have recommended. There was a minute 10 left. The Chiefs had a minute 20 left. The Bills had a 3rd and 13 on their, or it was after, they did have a 3rd and 13, but it was after first down he took the timeout that I wouldn't have taken. Because the Bills would have gone conservative, you get them off the field, and you then get the ball back up 7-3 with still 40 seconds and at one timeout, because you would have used the next one, chance to kick a field goal. Instead, he calls timeout. The Bills, credit to them, Josh Allen was amazing on 3 drives in this game. The last drive of the first half, the first drive of the second half, and the final drive of the game. Driving down the field 98 yards. Chiefs were lucky to even get 3 points out of it. They end up kicking a 62-yard field goal, 3 points out of it. But I think one of the narratives coming out of the game is going to be, the Chiefs secondary. Well, the Chiefs secondary is going to be different. Trent McDuffie, the first-round pick, this was his first game off IR. He played in a...
Hold on to the audience. We're working on the echo right now. If you guys have the...
there's an echo right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Do we want to... Tell me, Matt, if we want to take a break or we can keep going? All right, we'll fix it, I'm
working
sure.
on it, folks.
So, the Trent McDuffie's first game back off IR and Rashad Fenton didn't play. So, your top 2... So, you're playing an undrafted rookie. You're playing a 4th-round rookie. So, I think the Chiefs' secondary will be better. And I think even as is, holding the Bills to 24, that should be enough. The reason the Chiefs lost is a number of things, but one of them is Mahomes made a few big mistakes. The pick in the red zone was a bad decision. Should have just thrown it away and taken the 3 points. And at the end of the game, you were not in a spot where it was 1st and 10 from the 30. You were not in a spot where you had to go get it right then and there. He tried to force it in. Do I think Mahomes is going to make those critical mistakes, the next time they play? I don't. Do I think that Von Miller is definitely, at his age, and given the last few years, going to be able to hold up the entirety of the season? I'm not sure. And so I actually thought the Chiefs' defensive game plan, all things considered, was pretty sound. I didn't see anything yesterday where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how the Chiefs beat this team. The Chiefs played a B- game, in my opinion, and had the ball at the end with a chance. Mahomes is going to have to go the length of the field in a minute, which is hard to do. But I give the Bills credit. They won the game. They deserve to win. But we have seen that story before. And the one other thing I will say is this. Everyone just anointing the Bills, the 1 seed. There's a lot of the season left. And the Bills' schedule, at the beginning of the season, we would have said it was very favorable the rest of the way. All of a sudden, a lot of the games that we thought were going to be very easy could be at least a little tougher. The Bills will be favored in every game they play the rest of the way. But they have 4 left against the Patriots and the Jets, which looked like 4 easy games at the beginning of the season. All of a sudden, those are frisky-ish teams. They still have to go to Cincinnati. They're home from Minnesota, who's 5-1, and they come out of the break against Green Bay. We'll talk about Green Bay later. Green Bay might not be good. Point being, and they have 1 left against Miami, a Miami team that already beat them. Point is this. I think the Bills right now are the favorites for the 1 seed. They are far from guaranteed for the 1 seed, but credit to them. And as I said in my tweet, hang the banner. It's the 2nd straight championship game they've won. It's the Buffalo Bills. This is where I got to be a smartass, and I apologize. But you don't win Super Bowls in Buffalo. You get big regular season wins. There it is. They've won their Super Bowl 2 years in a row. Hang the banner, Buffalo. All right, next.
All right. Philly moved to 6-0 last night, but Dallas hung around and looked pretty dangerous. What a weekend for the NFC East. Even the Commanders won, my guy. Yeah. Philly looks mostly unstoppable, even though they can't score in the second half, obviously. Yep. Dallas should be better with Dak, but Cooper Rush did good over his little 5-game tenure. Yep. Meanwhile, the Giants are 5-1 and have Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, and Detroit next. With Dak coming back, how does the division pan out?
All right. So right now it looks like there's going to be 3 playoff teams from the NFC East, which absolutely no one could have predicted. Because Dallas is 4-2, Giants are 5-1, Philly 6-0. Of those 3 teams, the one that I am the least confident, and by the way, it's probably smart money that they all make it, but I am certain Philly's making it. Yeah. Philly is not in the position Buffalo's in, where I think it's a little too early to anoint them the 1 seed. Philly is going to be the 1 seed. It would be shocking if Philly doesn't get 13-4 will get you the 1 seed in the NFC. And so Philly's remaining schedule, as they now sit here at 6-0, they have a bye. Find 5 losses, because 13-4 will get you the 1 seed. Find the 5 losses. Pittsburgh, Houston, Washington, Indy, Green Bay, Tennessee, the Giants, Chicago, Dallas, New Orleans, the Giants. It's hard to find 3 losses, much less find 5 losses. Sure, Green Bay could beat them. Say they split with the Giants. Say they lose in Dallas. That's 3. I think you got to find 5. So, and say they give away they lose in Indy, a game they shouldn't lose probably. There's 4. We got to find 5. And 12-5, by the way, depending on, because the rest of the NFC East is going to beat up on itself a bit, right? Dallas and the Giants, they play each other again. I mean, San Francisco's already got 3 losses. The Rams, everyone, the NFC West leader has 3 losses. NFC's Tampa already has 3 losses. So the only other team you'd look at, Minnesota, is Minnesota. They're 5-1. Are they going to be the 1 seed? Well, they still have at Buffalo, home for Dallas, home for New England, at Green Bay, home for the Giants. I don't think Minnesota's getting to 13-4. And by the way, Minnesota, even if they do get to 13-4, they lost head-to-head to Philly. So if they finish with the same record, Philly gets it. So I think Philly, lock him in at the 1 seed. And before the year, I will admit when I'm wrong, before the year I said, listen, I like Philly to win the division. I was skeptical of that in the beginning, and then after the Tyron Smith injury, I came around Philly winning the division. But I was like, this talk of them being the 1 seed is crazy. It's not crazy. It's actually going to happen. The Giants at 5-1 with wins over Baltimore and Green Bay in the last 2 weeks. The Giants have 2 left against Washington. They have one against Indy, 1 against Houston, 1 against Jacksonville, and 1 against Seattle. That's 6 games. If they go 4-2 in those 6, that's now 9 wins. That means, I didn't even mention Detroit. So they don't even have to beat any good teams the rest of the way to make the playoffs. So I think the Giants are in. The Cowboys, I'm not as certain on. The Cowboys are likely in, and the Cowboys get Detroit and Chicago in their next 2. And I would imagine, I'm very confident they're going to beat Chicago. But Detroit, coming off a bye, a desperate Lions team, in Dak in his first game back, that could be a bit of a tough one. Tougher than I think people expect. Then they're at Green Bay and at Minnesota in back-to-back weeks. They have another game against Philly. Now, what is helpful for Dallas is from a media narrative standpoint, Cooper Rush had the game that I thought he was going to have against Cincinnati when you and I lost all that money. But the 3 interception, was behind from the very beginning, had to pass, and was terrible. Here's why that helps Dallas. Now, even the dumbest of talk shows, and I'm including mine in that, can't talk about a quarterback controversy if Dallas struggles. Nobody can be like, maybe they should go back to Cooper Rush. Had they found a way to win yesterday, and by the way, it was 20-0, then all of a sudden it was 20-17. Had they found a way to win yesterday, then even if the eye test tells you Dak's better than Cooper, as soon as Dak struggled, there was going to be that discussion. They did not find a way to win, and the biggest reason was Cooper was terrible, was just brutal in that game from start to finish. Because of that, the Cowboys won't have to worry about the narrative of any quarterback controversy. One last point on the Cowboys. When Dak got hurt, if we said they were going to go 4-1 with Cooper Rush, they'd have signed up for that in an absolute heartbeat. So they're likely going to be in the playoffs. I'm not ready to lock them into the playoffs just yet, and I'm very curious to see how they look against Detroit. But yeah, when it comes to nobody knowing anything, the NFC East having 3 teams be a combined 15-3 is remarkable. All right, next.
The Bucks, Packers, and Ravens got a few things in common, or a couple, should I say. They're all 3-3 and suffered embarrassing upsets Sunday. Green Bay was blown out by 17 at home by the Jets. The Bucks lost in Pittsburgh to Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
And the Ravens blew another lead against the G-Man after a late Lamar turnover.
2 of them, I think, yeah.
Of Green Bay, Tampa, and Baltimore, whose red flags are the biggest to you?
All right, I'm going to go smallest to biggest. The smallest is Baltimore. I still think they're a playoff team, and Lamar will rebound. But there's now 2 games in the last 3 weeks that Lamar has had brutal turnovers late in the game that helped them blow leads, helped cost them games. And in fact, so I'm going to give you a stat that I read on Twitter. I want to give credit to whoever came up with it. So Lamar, when he took over the Ravens, here it is. This is Bill Barnwell. From the moment he took over the Ravens until the start of this year, the Ravens, when they had a 10-plus point lead in the second half, they were 31-2. 31-2 if they were up at any point in the second half by double digits. This year, the Ravens, with a double-digit lead in the second half, 2-3. So that's a problem, but the reason that it's the smallest red flag is, what does that also mean? All 3 of their losses, they have been up 10 in the second half. So they're good enough, even against really good teams or good teams, to get up big. They just have to figure out how to close these games. Lamar's got to be more careful with the ball. The second biggest red flag is Tampa, but it's a pretty significant one. Brady had a weird week, man. He left the team to go to Bob Kraft's wedding. He misses the walkthrough. Losing to the Steelers is horrifying. Shout out to my TV co-host Kevin Wilds for calling it. I didn't see how it was possible. We had your mom's birthday party and costume party Saturday night. So I woke up too late to put in any extra bets in on these games, like my usual morning teaser. But luckily, because I definitely would have had Tampa in every teaser imaginable, teasing them down to 2.5. They were 8.5-point favorites. They might have actually gone off at 10. I mean, survivor pools this week was absolute bloodbath because of these games we're talking about here. The Giants survivor pool I'm in that started the year with 21,000 entrants, as of this morning, is down to 270. I have two entries left. For yesterday, by the way, in that survivor pool, yesterday was a double pick week, so you had to pick 2 teams. And by the way, I have 2 entries left, but one of them has, as one of my picks, the Chargers. So it's not even all the way through yet. They got to win tonight. Tampa's loss, though, was really, really bad, unforgivable. And for the defense to not be able to get Mitch Trubisky off the field after Kenny Pickett goes out with an injury, Tampa goes down and scores, down 8. Misses the 2-point conversion, and then has Mitch in some 3rd and longs, and Mitch converts them. So Tampa's offense doesn't look good. Brady looks like he doesn't want to get hit, and their defense didn't come through in the biggest spots. Okay? So they're a significant red flag. What they have going for them is that division. The Panthers might be the worst team in football, and then you have Atlanta. And then who's the other team in that? Oh, the Saints. The Saints stink. So the Panthers might be the worst team in football. The Saints stink. Atlanta's frisky. Atlanta's now 6-0 against the spread, by the way. Unbelievable. But 3-3 overall. Same record as Tampa. I think Tampa's going to be fine. And that's our time because our producers, God love them, even though I keep telling them, give me 20 minutes on Mondays in football season, they won't do it. They just refuse to do it. They just want me to look bad by going into overtime. We're not even through the 3rd topic. We have one more topic. By the way, if you're watching live, I hope we fixed our audio issues, but also drop questions in the chat. We'll do them in the C block. That's our 3rd segment. So Tampa, I think, is going to be fine, and their schedule softens up a bit over the next couple months. Then there's Green Bay. I do not think Green Bay is going to be fine. In fact, one of the reasons that I do think the NFC East is likely to produce 3 playoff teams is because the NFC North, I think, only produces 1, because I think Green Bay misses the playoffs entirely. I think the Vikings are going, and Green Bay's offense I said all year their defense was a touch overrated. That's a good, I thought going into the year, a good, not a great defense. Hasn't even been a very good defense so far this year. But offensively, they score 7 against Minnesota. They score 14 in a win against Tampa. They scored 10 yesterday against the Jets. They lose to the Giants. They need overtime to beat the Patriots. They have one clear-cut victory this season. Chicago. It's one of the worst teams in football. Rodgers looks nothing like Aaron Rodgers. He can't deal with not having Devontae Adams, it looks like. The offense is sputtering every single week. And now you look at them, after they escaped that Tampa game, it's like, okay, well, now they're in really good shape. They get the Patriots, who should be an easy win with how the Patriots were looking. And in that game, the Patriots, by the way, lost their quarterback. Might have been a good thing for them. Then the Giants, the Jets, on neutral site, and then in Lambeau, and then Washington before they play Buffalo. Instead, they need overtime to beat the Patriots. They lose to the Giants in London. They lose to the Jets at Lambeau by 17 points in a game Zach Wilson doesn't do anything. The Jets' offense, passing-wise, did nothing. Yeah, now you get Washington, you'll beat Washington, but then you have Buffalo. And you assume you lose to Buffalo. It's just, you still have Philadelphia on the schedule. You still have at Miami on the schedule. You still have another game against Minnesota on the schedule. You have a home game against the Rams that, listen, maybe that'll be good, but we'll see what the Rams look like by that point in the season. I think the Packers are an 8-9 win team, and I think they missed the playoffs. All right, last.
For those boys. All right, Rodgers, Brady, and Lamar have disappointed. What about the overachievers? We discussed the 5-1 Giants, who have wins over Green Bay and Baltimore. The Jets, who are now 4-2 and may have the best young talent in the league. And the Falcons just dominated the number 1 defense and have been consistent every week. Who is the biggest surprise in the NFL this season?
Okay, so let's go through, though, and you know what? I would include Seattle in there. I know that we don't have them listed, but Seattle was supposed to be in contention for the number 1 pick of the draft. They just won again. Geno has been sensational. And so now, do they have impressive wins? Not really. They beat Denver, who's not very good, Detroit, who's not any good, and Arizona, who's not any good. But I would at least include Seattle in the honorable mentions. Atlanta, who is one of the teams that beat Seattle, Atlanta, I give them credit for finding a way to make this work with Marcus Mariota at quarterback and with wins over. None of their wins have come over terrible teams. In Atlanta's, they beat Seattle, they beat Cleveland, who finds a way to just shoot itself in the foot every single week. By the time Deshaun comes back, they're cooked. And then yesterday's win by Atlanta over San Francisco was phenomenal. They beat San Francisco, and it wasn't fluky. They beat them by 2 scores, just dominating that football game. So I will give the Falcons credit. The Jets do have, listen, Sauce Gardner's awesome. Breece Hall's very good. Garrett Wilson didn't do anything this weekend, but it was hard because they weren't throwing the ball well. I think he's very good. Quinnen Williams is really good. So I agree with the young talent thing. Zach Wilson.
He's compliant.
Yeah, but if we go through what Zach Wilson's done so far this year, okay? So he comes back, he plays Pittsburgh, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 250 yards, not great. Against Miami, 14 of 21, 210 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. And then against Green Bay, 10 of 18, 110 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. Zach Wilson is right now taking advantage of the fact that people love quarterback wins, and they've won all 3 of those games. He hasn't been great. He needs to be better, but the Jets being 4-2, right now the Jets are the 3rd seed. If the playoffs started today, they'd be they wouldn't be the 3 seed, but they'd be the number 1 wild card team. They have the best record of any non-division leader in the AFC. So I give them credit for that. I don't think that's sustainable. The biggest surprise is the Giants. Yeah. I thought the Giants were going to be terrible. Not only are they not terrible, they are winning gritty games where they're losing late and finding ways to win. What's up?
A few weeks ago, it seemed like you were far off of, you were not entertaining the Jets.
No,
the Giants. At all.
I was not.
And you were
I
saying,
said
like,
they might
down
be
to-
4-0 and be a bad team. Because I was like, they could beat Dallas with Cooper Rush, beat Chicago. I was like, but then they're going to play Green Bay and Baltimore and get their teeth kicked in both those games. Instead, they're playing Green Bay. They're down 14 in that game, down 10 in the second half, and they find a way to win.
So are you on board with Daniel Jones and the Giants?
Well,
how far do you think they could take it?
Okay, so then let me just finish real quick. And then Baltimore, another game, they're down 10 in the second half, and they find a way to win. So I think Dable's doing an excellent job. Saquon is awesome.
Right.
The defense is playing well. Like, it shows you what a bad job Joe Judge was doing coaching that team, because it's mostly the same players, and now they're 5-1. Daniel Jones, if they get a real quarterback there, they could be a dangerous team very quickly. Daniel Jones right now is doing just enough. He's not killing you. I give him credit against Baltimore, made a few nice plays, and he has stopped fumbling the football, which was his biggest problem. He is still, at best, like the 20th best quarterback in football. So I think he's a future career backup, but to be 5-1 in that circumstance, let me give you a quick prediction on what's going to happen with them. I think they're going to sign Jimmy G this offseason. I think that is where Jimmy G goes. And so that's where I think this goes for them. But they have been the biggest surprise. Dable's been the coach of the year, and Saquon's been unbelievable. One last thing, but it's not in the rest of the show. I just want to mention it here. And this is not a surprise, but it should be noted. Arizona being consistently this god-awful, particularly on offense, particularly in the first half of games, is just unforgivable. It's just utterly and totally unforgivable. Do this math for me. Arizona in week 1, 7 first half points. Arizona in week 2, 0 first half points. Arizona in week 3, 6 first half points. Arizona in week 4, 3 first half points. So now we're up to 16. Arizona in week 5, 10 first half points. That's not terrible. So now we're up to 26. Arizona this past week, 3 first half points. That's 29 first half points in 6 weeks. So that's less than 5 points a game in the first half of games for a team whose entire strength is supposed to be its offense. Now, I know they get Nuke Hopkins back, but they lose Hollywood Brown because he got hurt. Arizona, they are so poorly coached, and Cliff does such a bad job. And Kyler, after getting all that money and talking all that trash, Kyler has 6 passing touchdowns this year. 6. He has an 81 passer rating. For a team that last year I think started 9-2, this is brutal. And I don't see any way out for them. And you also keep in mind they're 2-4. One win is against Carolina, and the other win is against a 1-4 Raider team that I actually think is kind of frisky. But that Raider win was one of the most miraculous games of the year. They were down in that game 23-7 with 9 minutes left. They were down 16 with 9 minutes left and came all the way back to win. That was Kyler's one good moment. They've been a disaster. 10 minutes overtime. You know what? Take another 10 seconds. We'll go the exact length of an NFL overtime. We're going to talk a little bit about the Warriors' contract extensions and then back to the other NFL stories where we take your questions in the C block. This is What's Right. All right, welcome back in What's Right, Nick Wright. So if you're watching us on YouTube, this part right here is not going to actually be on the audio podcast. This is a YouTube exclusive right now because we were having some audio issues. So we're right now troubleshooting those, and we'll get back to the scheduled topics, which is week 6 in the NFL and what happened with the Warriors contracts this weekend in just a moment. Before we do any of that, though, Demonze and I are going to talk for a minute about I was talking about the Cardinals before, and we were talking about the most disappointing teams in the NFL, and I don't want to step on the things for the. What's up, buddy? Did you? Oh, okay.
I was just agreeing.
No. So we were talking about the Cardinals before, and the most disappointing teams in the NFL, and I said in passing, I still think the Raiders have talent, and someone in the chat chimed in like, "Give me a break, Nick. You're just trying to make the Chiefs 1-point win over them look good. That's not it at all. I think that in the AFC, let's just talk about this holistically for a moment, okay?
Copy.
All right, so we believe, I think, that Baltimore and Cincinnati are going to be there to stay, right? They're both 3-3, that they're going to be around at the end of the season. Do you agree?
Somewhat. I don't know so much. I'm not completely bought in on Cincinnati.
Good win for them this weekend. They could have lost against the Saints. It's a fair point you make, but my point is you can't discount them.
Yeah,
so Baltimore and Cincinnati, you can't discount. Yeah. In the AFC South, my poor Jags, we're going to talk about them soon. They keep inventing ways to lose. Indy has 3 wins. Every single one of those games, the win came in I think they were losing with less than a minute left. It's just unfathomable. And we'll get back to the regularly scheduled stuff in just a second. I think we fix everything. But Tennessee's 3-2. They were on a bye this week. AFC South is going to be one playoff team, I feel like. So there's one. The AFC West, we'll see how the Chargers look tonight. The AFC West, I believe, pause on the AFC West for a moment. In the AFC East, we know Buffalo's going to be there. And then Jets, Miami, Patriots, you can't discount any of them, but I don't think that's going to be a 3 playoff team division.
Right.
I think it's probably a 1 playoff team division. Or I'm sorry, a 2 playoff team division. So then you get the AFC West. And I understand that people's gut reaction is, well, it'll be the Chiefs and the Chargers. Maybe. But the Raiders, 1 win this year, came in the division against Denver. They then have, after the bye, Houston, New Orleans, Jacksonville, Indy, Denver again. So do I think that it's smart to just discount the Raiders? I don't. They're 1-4. Could I see them being 5-4 in a month and being alive? Absolutely, I could. Their loss to the Chiefs, obviously they could have won it. Their loss to the Cardinals, they should have won it. Their loss to Tennessee came down to a 2-point conversion. So I'm not going to discount the Raiders yet. Okay, so now I'm gonna. What are you laughing about?
I honestly think it sounds. I see what you're saying, and I can't wait to see it play out. But I think a little bit ago we were like, Green Bay's basically like they're knocked.
No, and they're 3-3, and the Raiders are 1-4. But a lot of that's because of how they've looked and who they've played. And I think the Raiders have underachieved at 1-4. I think Green Bay is lucky to be 3-3. Okay. Green Bay easily could be 1-5.
Yeah,
they don't have a single loss this year. Here's the other thing with Green Bay, and then I'll move on. They have 1 loss this year, the Giants game, that they could have won. Their other 2 losses, they got their teeth kicked in. Of their 3 wins, 2 of them could have been losses. You know what I mean? They have 1 resounding victory over Chicago, and then
Chicago
against Chicago, right? Yeah. That's it. And they have 2 resounding defeats, and then an overtime win. I don't trust Green Bay. Okay, all right. Welcome back in. What's right, Nick Wright. Segment number 2. DeMonze, what are we starting with?
Warriors extensions. Just a few days after Draymond threw the punch at Jordan Poole, it is obvious that the Warriors have Poole's back.
Yeah.
Signed a huge extension this weekend, and they also tied themselves to Wiggins long term. The Warriors are now on a $500 million luxury tax bill in the future.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that they will regret keeping Poole over Draymond? I'm really curious to hear your answer on this one.
I mean, listen, I am not a huge believer. I think Steve Kerr had a very good quote about Jordan Poole, which was, listen, you earned every penny of this. We're happy for you. But there's a reason you played 17 minutes a game in the playoffs. And we want to play you 30 minutes a game. You've got to get better. And we'll see how the punch affects him, how the new money affects him, all of that. Jordan Poole obviously has talent, but he's a defensive liability, and he's incredibly confident, which can be good, but also can be bad. They got Wiggins on a good salary. I mean, he took a pay cut from where he was. He obviously is happy there.
Right.
It's just the right spot for him where he's not relied on for his scoring. His scoring's a bonus. Good defense. He was critical to them last year. I've given my pound of flesh on the Wiggins thing. But what is noteworthy about this is the timing of it all. Because I do not believe, now that they have decided to give Poole the extension and to give Wiggins the extension,
they're keeping.
I do not believe they are giving Draymond an extension. And I think the odds of Draymond being traded, as I said last week, that I thought it would be traded before the deadline, just increased exponentially. Because you could get things of value for Draymond Green.
What?
What?
I just think Draymond, I think in 2 years, he's done.
That might be true.
I don't know what exactly Draymond did last year.
Well,
I understand he's got his track record. He's no LeBron.
He was good at the end of the finals.
All right.
He does unlock things for them, lineups they can play, because when he is locked in, he is still a tremendous defensive player, and his synergy with Steph Curry is helpful. With that said, there's just a very select list of teams that could really, if you're a bad team, you have no use for Draymond Green. If there's only certain teams that could use him. However, now that they have paid Poole and Wiggins, do I think it's possible that they, as I said last week, that they decide to see what trade value Draymond as an expiring deal or a deal with a player option plus one of the other young guys has? I do. Do I think that they want anything to do with Draymond picking up this $30-some million option or opting out and expecting a big deal? I don't.
Is there an option where Draymond can just take way less money?
Well, I don't know why he would. Because here's the thing. He has 1 year left on his deal. Let me tell you the exact numbers on it, and then we'll move on back to football. I think it's $32 million, but I want to make sure I want to get the money right. So Draymond this year it was a 4-year, $100 million deal. So I actually had the money wrong. So it's $26 million this year, and then a player option for $28 million next year. So Draymond at the end of this year, his agent, Rich Paul with Clutch, is going to survey the landscape and find out, is there anyone out there willing to give him a multi-year high-dollar extension? If there is not, then he will just pick up that player option for $28 million. He would never decline the player option to then take $10 million.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. Now, is it possible he would decline the player option at 1 year, $28 million in order to get 3 years, $60 million? So it's less money per year, but more length. Yeah, that's on the board. But I think the Warriors are going to move him because I think that they would risk losing him for nothing this offseason. I think what he did was a big deal. I thought Kevin Durant's quote, I know there were some members of the media trying to act like other members. This is one of the things I hate. Members of the media who try to act like other members of the media are soft compared to them, and they were doing this whole, this happens all the time.
Right.
Oh, guys don't know what it's like in a locker room. I think Kevin Durant gave a quote. He's like, I've been in the league 16 years. I've never seen that happen.
Love that guy, man.
Kyrie, of course, though, in the same locker room, was asked by Nick Friedel, about the moment. He's like, oh, man, I wasn't surprised at all. I've seen it all in the league. Yeah. Like, yeah, of course you have, Kai. But no, so it was a really big deal what happened.
Yeah.
The Warriors acknowledged it was a big deal and then lost their mettle on it by letting Draymond. The reason they didn't suspend Draymond, I truly believe, is because of ring night. They don't want him to miss ring night. But I don't think it's sustainable there, and I think the Warriors made it very clear they have made their choices in valuing Poole and Wiggins over Draymond. All right, are we playing a game now?
We are playing All In or Fold, folks. Yep. And by the way, you guys can send in questions or respond to the chat, and we will read the best answers.
Okay.
That means that if we didn't read your answer, that it sucked.
No, that's not what it means.
I'm kidding, guys.
That's not what it means. It probably means we just didn't see it, or DeMonze's computer isn't working.
My questions suck sometimes as well.
Go ahead.
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase finally had a big day for the Bengals and a win in New Orleans. With the Ravens and Browns losing, the AFC North is wide open. All in or fold, the Bengals will make the playoffs. You know where he's going with that.
I wouldn't feel great about this all in, but I will go all in on that.
Okay.
I think the Bengals did not fix their offensive line. They're going to have to play the rest of the season out of shotgun. I don't know that they want to, but that's what they're going to have to do, and the offense will be able to function because of that. Also, they needed Jamar to have a huge day. He did. Jamar had been okay this year, but since week 1, week 1 he was 10 for 129 and a touchdown. Week 2, 5 for 54. Week 3, 6 for 29. Week 4, 4 for 81. Week 5, 7 for 50. Only one touchdown that stretch. And then yesterday, 7 for 132 and 2 scores, all of them critical. And now Cincinnati's got Atlanta, Cleveland, Carolina, a bye week, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, before they get Kansas City. Now, the end of their season is brutal. Kansas City, Cleveland with Deshaun back, Tampa, New England, Buffalo, Baltimore. So they can't be 500 going into that stretch. But home against Atlanta, at Cleveland, home for Carolina, I like them in all those spots. That's 6-3 going into the bye before they play Pittsburgh. I think they make the playoffs. Next.
Felix says he's folding. The rest of the calendar.
After, again, Kansas City, Cleveland, Tampa, New England, Buffalo, Baltimore is a brutal final 6 weeks. Don't get me wrong, but Cincinnati at home against Baltimore in Week 18, at the very least, I would expect Cincinnati to be in a position where if they win that game, they're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I would expect that. All right, next.
The Vikings quietly had one of the best records in the league at 5-1. With a 2-game lead in the division and the Packers collapsing, Minnesota could have a real shot. All in or fold, it's time to take the Vikings seriously.
I mean, I think you have to, take them seriously to win the division, absolutely. All in on that. Take them seriously to win multiple playoff games, no chance. I don't trust Kirk Cousins like that, but they have a bye this week. They're home for Arizona, and then they're at Washington. That, to me, feels like 7-1. It's 7-1, and you guys know, I made it clear how skeptical I am about the Packers. So, yeah, I'm all in on the Vikings winning that division, even if I don't think they're going to be a real playoff threat. Next.
Okay. Bailey Zappi and the Patriots crushed the Browns 38-15, which is good news for everybody in New England except for Mac Jones. All in or fold, Mac Jones will be the quarterback in New England.
Will be the backup quarterback in New England. This is a tough one. I think he should be. I think Zappi's interesting, man. We know what Mac Jones is. Mac Jones was a high floor, low ceiling guy who this year tried to come out and prove to people he was a high ceiling guy, and he turned himself into a low floor guy. With 2 touchdowns, 5 picks was bad. Bailey Zappi came in and was like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
I will run the offense. And this week threw for 300 yards.
Yeah.
He's doing exactly what they want him to do. They're running the football. They're playing good defense. That guy, Jack Jones, has been excellent. The corner. Patriots did seem to have a good draft. I would stick with Zappi. This isn't a Cooper Rush Dak situation where it's like, oh my God, what.
Right, Dak Prescott's obviously the vet there.
Right, has all this talent, all that.
Right.
That's not this situation at all. And so, listen, I would stick with Zappi. I don't think they will, but I'm very curious if Mac comes back in and tries to throw it all over the field again and tries to do these things that he was screwing him up the first few weeks if they go back to Bailey Zappi. Okay. Mac Jones officially on notice. Next.
After the Jets upset the Packers in Lambeau, Sauce Gardner wore a cheese head until Alan Lazard knocked it off. Also, he said Jets fans in Lambeau kind of made it feel like a home game. All in or fold, Sauce Gardner destroyed the Jets' good karma.
Oh, no, I'm folding that. I actually liked that. I actually liked that he did that. I thought it was pretty
genuine.
I thought it was genuine. I think that guy's awesome. That guy's been a dominant player every step of his life. I don't know how he ended up at Cincinnati. I haven't researched that. He was unbelievable there. He's been great with the Jets. Him and Stingley, the 2 corners that went top 5, Stingley to the Texans, have both been phenomenal players. The Jets, again, the pivot point is going to be how good is Zach Wilson. But the rest of that team, they are building a real team. So I'm folding that he destroyed the Jets' good karma. I liked that moment. It reminded me a bit of Richard Sherman with the young Seahawks when Tom Brady came to Seattle with the Patriots and the Seahawks beat him, and Sherman ran up to him at the end of the game and yelled, "You mad, bro, you mad, bro." Like a young, brash, I'm here corner on a young, brash defense. I liked it. All right, next.
The Jags blew a late-game lead to Matt Ryan and have repeatedly let you down. Will this be the straw that broke the camel's back? All in her fold, Nick will keep betting on the Jags. And the prince that was promised.
That loss. So I had the Jags plus 1.5 on this show. But I had them plus 2.5 on the TV show.
Right.
Okay? DeMonze, they're up 1 with Indy has the ball in field goal range with less than a minute left. Everyone knows they're just going to run the ball, kick the field goal, win by 2. I'm going to be, or maybe miss the field goal. But if they do, they win by 2. My 2.5 covers. I'm going to be sad for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, but at least my bet wins. Instead, they throw a bomb down the sideline and score a touchdown. Indy, by the way, has been the most unbelievable team this year. I just want to tell you how their season is going.
What do you call them? Like it's like...
Indy was down 20-3 to start the fourth quarter against the Texans in week 1. That game ends up being tied in overtime. The Jags then kicked their ass 24-0. Kansas City, they beat the Chiefs on a touchdown pass with 29 seconds left. They beat Denver in overtime thanks to Russ's interception. And they in that Denver game, again, like this is a team that is down with 8 seconds left. And then they kick a field goal to tie it and then win in overtime. And then this week, they are down with, how much time? 23 seconds left. And they throw a bomb to the end zone. I never see anything like it. The Jags are in real trouble. And this game wasn't on Trevor, but he could have been better. I have to stop betting on the Jags. Like, I feel like I don't have a choice. Well, with that said, what's the line this week? Oh, they're home against the Giants?
Oh, there's no way you like that.
Well, hold on. What do you think that line is? Jaguars at home against the Giants. So
I think it's Giants 2.5.
All right. So this is going to blow your mind. Jacksonville favored by 3. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yo, funny because Felix is all in. He's too deep. He needs to be stopped for his own good.
Okay, so here's
Exhibit
the thing.
A.
Here's the thing. You know who's going to love the Giants plus 3? Our dopey producers. You. Everyone. The Giants getting a full 3. You thought they'd be favored by 2.5. Look at them. Nobody can figure out this line. Why would You know what?
I love it.
You love it.
I love it. Yeah.
You love the Giants getting 3.
Yes. I mean, I might bet on that right now, and it might be the only thing that I bet on.
You bet on for the week?
Yes.
But just in case it moves, if everyone bets the Giants, it moves down to 2.5, down to 2. Oh boy. You guys know one of my rules of gambling. If DeMonze and the producers love the same bet, I'm going the other side. We answer your questions in the chat next. All right, welcome back in. What's Right, Nick Wright, final segment. We've gone late, as we do every Monday show. By the way, if you're watching right now, please watch the beginning of the TV show, because I'm going to do something fun for the Bills-Chiefs game. A little sneak preview for the folks, you guys that are watching this right now. I have a prepared statement that I'm going to read for the beginning of the TV show. I've never done it. Maybe it won't work. Maybe it will. But check that out, 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Also, the next What's Right comes out live on YouTube at 10:30 Eastern Thursday morning. And then, of course, our gambling show with another god dog 2-3 week. Thanks to the Jaguars. Just the worst, man.
I think we're going to have to take a different approach. I saw, by the way, I know we're supposed to be answering questions.
Yeah, we're going to answer your questions in the chat in just a second.
You tweeted you can get the Chiefs plus 5.5.
Uh-huh.
Why didn't you text that to me?
Well, you should. Don't you have alerts on for my Twitter?
Okay.
Don't you? I mean, listen, I shouldn't have to text you directly. I sent it to 500,000 people.
I just love, I feel like the humbleness of the tweet. I feel like you kind of, retracted from your...
What do you mean?
Like, you just said, FYI. It was, not as...
I do that whenever the Chiefs are underdogs in live betting. I send out the same tweet. FYI, you can get them on this. And by the way, the plus 5.5 would have won.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was.
Unlike the plus 2.5.
Yeah.
But you know what? Before we get to the questions, I'm going to do something incredibly self-serving here, okay? And I'm going to need our social team to go ahead and clip this and send this to me, okay? Totally self-serving, then we'll get to the questions. Go ahead and put me on the one shot, please, here. So, yesterday was not only my wife's birthday, but also the 1-year anniversary of her store, Trintage, this amazing boutique here in Harlem, which happens to be the location of the podcast. If you ever come to Trintage to do some shopping, you can see our set that we have built out here where DeMonze and I do the show. And it's incredibly gracious of her to give us this space. It's incredibly awesome of Fox and her to be able to work out that we can use this space. I'm very happy about all that. But more than anything, and I wish I could almost turn the camera around and show everybody the amazing stuff, this store she has built. She has picked out every single item in this store by hand. Yesterday, it was like a celebration for the entire community here because it has been such a gem in the community because she has created a place that is legitimate, like high fashion items for the women of Harlem or of all of New York City, but particularly Harlem, for not high fashion prices. And it's very important to her that the stuff stays affordable, and it was her lifelong dream, and she opened it on her 40th birthday last year. And yesterday, we had a great party for her birthday this weekend, which was kind of a celebration of her. And then yesterday, there was an unbelievable party here for the 1-year anniversary of Trintage, and it's just such a cool thing, and I'm so incredibly proud of her, and I love her so very much, and we appreciate her letting us use her space to do this podcast.
We love you, Mom.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, buddy. All right, now let's answer the questions. Go ahead.
What do you mean?
No, I said thanks, buddy. Like that was a nice thing you added to it. I thought that was sweet of you. Go ahead.
All right, so Todd asked, what's one sporting event left on this year's calendar that Nick and Dee most like to go to?
If it wasn't in Qatar, the World Cup. For me, if it wasn't there, the World Cup final would be my answer. Okay. I'm not big on going to NFL games in person. I think the NFL's better on television. It's like it almost feels like you got to be ready to fight at football games.
Yeah,
it's like a very hostile environment. Now we're going to be going to
Nets, right?
The Nets season opener against the Pelicans. That's going to be dope. We're going to go into like 40 of the Nets games this year. We got season tickets. So, but for me, the answer, if it was anywhere else or almost anywhere else, the World Cup is an unbelievable experience, and it's one thing I've never been to. And there's no major tennis events left in the calendar year, so none of those. All right, next.
Sweet. John asks, what do you think happens to Lamar Jackson if he misses the playoffs?
Oh, listen, I think unless the Ravens make the Super Bowl, I think it's the same result for Lamar no matter what, which is they're going to franchise tag. I don't think he's going to get the contract he wants. They are not going to give him unless they go on a deep, deep playoff run. And even if they miss the playoffs, it's not like they're going to let him walk.
Right.
And so Lamar was unbelievable the first 3 weeks of the year, has struggled somewhat the last few weeks of the year, the most recent few weeks. So I think it's a franchise tag almost no matter what for Lamar. Next.
Okay, Joe Smith asks, if the Bills do happen to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, they definitely have to win the Super Bowl II to validate the season, or would it be considered a failure?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't think it would be. If the Bills beat the Chiefs and make the Super Bowl, but lose in the Super Bowl, that's clearly not a failure, but it would be completely devastating for Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because this is a team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost them all. This is a team that's never won a Super Bowl. And this is supposed to be a year where the Bills are peaking, and it's supposed to be, and the Chiefs are taking a slight step back. Chiefs drafting all those guys, trading Tyreek. The Bills are in a rough cap situation next year. They went out and got Von Miller. So that this is a year where it would be the failure is when they lose to the Chiefs in the playoffs again, which is what's going to happen.
Okay.
I know I started off the show a little humble and good for the Bills, whatever.
He's back.
I am not concerned at all. I don't care where that playoff game is. Put that playoff game on the goddamn moon. I don't care. And I'll believe Josh Allen can beat Patrick Mahomes in a game that actually matters when it actually happens. Next.
Okay, we got Raymond here. Says, I love the show, and it's so awesome to see DeMonte's growth on the show after show is I'm sorry. Growth
DeMonte's
show
growth
after
show after show.
it's inspiring.
Look at that growth.
Jesus Christ. Thank you, Raymond. I appreciate your support. What do you think the top storyline will be in the NBA this year? The Warriors' chemistry or the Clippers as a contender?
What do you think? You answer it.
I think the bigger one would be the Clippers being a contender. I think the Warriors' chemistry is like a no-brainer type thing. I think that's always going to be there.
So I think he's talking about it because of the Draymond thing. Like, do you think the Warriors
I think I'm doing that thinking that Draymond's not going to be there.
Oh, that they are going to trade Draymond.
Yeah.
That would end up being a massive story. That, there are a few people talking about that. I'm one of them, but it's not like that's the consensus. Do you buy the Clippers as the best team in the West? On paper, they're the best team in the West. By the way, and we'll get in this in the NBA season preview, it's really unbelievable to me. I was told all last year that I had to just eat it, that Jokic gets to be an MVP on a 6 seed because they would be title contenders if they had their second and third best players. It's not his fault they don't have them. Now they have all of them, and I haven't seen a single person pick them to even make the finals, let alone win the championship. Not a single person. So the Clippers on paper are awesome. I think Kawhi is a bigger injury risk than Anthony Davis, though. I think the idea that you're going to get 75 games out of Kawhi Leonard, he's a great, great, great player. But, I mean, he tore his ACL in the playoffs the year before this most recent one. We haven't seen him play since then. So I think, and again, we'll do an NBA preview on Thursday. I think low-key the biggest story in the NBA this year might be the Sixers. Okay. I think the Sixers could be awesome. I think Embiid's angry that he feels he's been, snubbed on the MVP a couple years in a row. I think Harden will be better than he was last year, even if he's not vintage Harden. And I think that Maxey kid's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So, all that plus the depth that Daryl's built, I like the Sixers. All right, let's do a couple more, and then I got to go.
All right, Cordell asks, over or under, Draymond will still be with the Warriors after the All-Star break.
I say under. I think he gets traded. Obviously, he had to get traded before the deadline. Deadline's right after the break, but I think he'll get traded before then. Next,
Ruben asks, how much
thigh?
How much?
Read the question.
Okay, geez. I was like, wait, why are we talking about thighs here? Ruben asks, how much thigh will you continue to let DeMonte get away with?
I don't know, man. It's a new generation. They're the short generation. It's a weird thing. It was like John Stockton in that era, and then these Gen Z weirdos that wear these short shorts, and they're just trying to show off leg. I don't understand it. I've tried to tell DeMonte. There's a few things.
I'm built differently than most humans.
I understand you have long legs. They make shorts for those people.
No, these are actually a large. If I get an XL in these shorts, they're freaking huge in my waist.
Well, that's what belts are for.
Belts for shorts.
Or what about pants? Since we're on TV,
I've worn my 2 pairs of jeans the last week. I just can't keep wearing jeans.
Well, you can. It's fall in New York.
Not everybody's got their same clothing from like 10 years ago.
Okay. You know what, buddy?
I'm building up here. You guys have been seeing me. I've been coming with some different stuff. Please.
DeMonte has been spending a lot of money on fits. Unfortunately, the fits are all shorts. It's just we are seeing a nice different, a long closet full of shorts, but maybe mix some pants in there. But listen, he is doing a great job. There are a few things though he just won't listen to me on. One of them is
I definitely am not listening to this guy on fashion. It doesn't even dress. You don't even dress yourself.
Well, yeah, but I don't need to. I already did the whole thing about your mom. That's what she does for a living. But okay, listen. DeMonte is doing a great job. Today was a great show. We'll be back on Thursday. By the way, I like the Chargers tonight. I don't know if I like the Chargers minus, what are they right now, 5.5, but I like the Chargers to win tonight. And mercifully, last thing, is this the last time? Are the Broncos on national TV every game? Every week, the damn Broncos are the national TV game. I'm going to check real quick.
On tonight.
Say it again?
There's two.
No, there's not two.
Oh.
Who told you there was two?
Oh, no. I'm tripping. It's Denver playing the Chargers.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's Denver against the Chargers. The Broncos, they have another national TV game in 2 weeks. They're the London game. At least that's a different type of national TV game because it's the London game. And then they have another national TV game in December against the Chiefs on Sunday night.
Everybody on earth thought Russell Wilson was better than what he is.
Well, not everybody on earth, my friend. One person didn't. All right, we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. What's right? Hey, it's Nick Wright. Thank you so much for watching. Please do us a favor. Click subscribe. It helps my ego. And DeMonte's got a financial bonus writing on a number of YouTube subscribers, so help him out. And also, click the bell. I don't know what the bell does, but they tell me to tell you to click the bell. And your audio listeners, people that have commutes, drives, whatever it is, subscribe to the podcast as well, wherever you get the podcast. Same show, just in your ears instead of through your eyes. All that. Check it out. Appreciate y'all.